I'm gonna share my screen. So, sorry, I was sharing other stuff before I got on this. Okay, so end of the month, we're gonna have some fun recognition first. Have a few girls to shout out. So first of all, y'all, this is crazy. I was making this and I was like showing this to Caleb and I'm like, this is like literally just our team. Like this is not everybody, this is our team. So this is really cool. It's not the end of the month yet. So those ladies who are at SC4 and even too, like y'all keep going and keep being consistent and keep inviting. Like I have no doubt that y'all can still hit Success Club, but this is just a really cool like testament of the Lord's faithfulness in this team. And so I'm really proud of y'all. And just I feel like I've talked to a lot of people lately where y'all have sent me like individual messages on just wins and like how like wins you've heard from your coaches or your clients. And so like it's just encouraging to see the Lord at work like within y'all's lives and seeing people's lives change. So I'm so proud of y'all. Caroline hit Success Starter. So for those of you who don't know, that means she hit Success Club her first. She only had to hit it 3 out of 6 months, but she hit it her first 3 months of coaching, which is no surprise. She is such a joy and has just been so faithful in this. So she gets a free ticket to Summit next year and an invite to one of the test groups, which is awesome. I don't know what test group's coming next. I'm excited to find out what she gets invited to. But so proud of you, Caroline. Miranda hit Emerald. So that's a huge accomplishment. I think she got her cousin on board and then obviously Michael. So super, super proud of you. I know me and her have had discussions and she's been in here for a while. And so just seeing like that that fruit start to come is really exciting. And then one more before we get started. So Britt is almost a diamond. So just to share this, all of these little orange circles are coaches, active coaches that she has. And so she's literally just missing an emerald on each side to hit diamond, which is like insane and crazy. But I just wanted to celebrate her. She was our top recruiter last week as far as coaches go. And I've had so many conversations with her and I'm probably going to get her to lead a team call soon, but like, she is so good at loving her community. Like she is doing an amazing job of loving the people that come in. And that's evident because they're all swapping over to coaches. So like they're in this for a reason. They loved it and she just loves them well. And so super excited. Also, I see chats coming through. So if somebody says something to me at all, I mean, I'm sure everybody's just celebrating people, but if somebody does have a question, tell me because when I have it on presenter mode, it's really hard to look at the chat. So anyways, just wanted to shout y'all ladies out. So tonight, I wanted to talk about just staying steadfast during all seasons. And obviously, I'm going to talk about this from a coaching standpoint because that's what we're here for. That's what we're doing. But I really do think this can play into a lot of different roles in our lives. And what's so cool is like, I see people in all different seasons on this call. Like, I'm literally just going to go in order, look on my screen, but like, Caroline's in college, like Britt is working full time and I still consider us newlyweds. I don't know, we kind of are. Like Miranda's a newlywed. She's working a bunch of different jobs, going back to school. Maggie's in college too, but about to go on this crazy internship. Like all of these different things. Layla just had a baby. Like Courtney just had surgery. Like literally all of our journeys and stories are about to look very, very different. But I just want to encourage y'all to stay steadfast in what the Lord has you in no matter what. And that this business can absolutely be done and done in the right way and be fruitful no matter what season you're in. But I also just want to like take the pressure off everybody because it's about to look different for every single person on this call. Like I had a conversation with Courtney yesterday. Her and Brittany had been going one-on-one in Liella, like, but literally they're about to be in all 3 different seasons. Like Liella just had a kid, Brittany's still in her season, but busy working. And Courtney's about to have to really hit the brakes and do coaching completely different until her body heals. And so just a sweet reminder that like, we're all in different seasons, but we still have one mission and one purpose, and that's to honor and glorify the Lord through this. And so just remember that, but also do not compare where you're at to where somebody else is at. Know it's going to look different for all of us. That's not good that I've already went on a rant and I haven't even started my presentation. So anyways, okay. Question. Who is feeling overwhelmed right now about coaching in particular? Okay.
Me.
Okay. I hear me's, I see hands. Okay. I was going to tell y'all to do it in the chat, but y'all just keep answering. Okay. This is the question though. What do you feel overwhelmed with? Like, take a second and think about it. Write it in the chat. Keeping up with messages and tasks. Okay. Balancing time and personal life. Yes. Yes. Anybody else got anything to add to that? Don't feel like I have the time to invest in coaching, invites. Okay. I just wanted to kind of hear y'all's answers. One more. How do you respond to that? Like, you're overwhelmed or stressed out. What do you do? Do you do anything? Do you pull back? How do y'all respond? I got my chats pulled up. So Maggie said step back. You freak out. Yeah, sacrifice time with family. I feel like Caroline's typing something. Okay, I knew she was about to because it looked like she was. Step back. Yes, stepping back typically makes it worse. It depends. We're going to talk about that. Okay, this is literally, I just wanted to know what y'all would say. So thank y'all for participating in the fun. But this is what we're going to talk about. So this is what happens a lot of times. And this is like one of my first pictures as a coach. I literally scrolled all the way back, y'all, to find this. I was like, okay. But a lot of times we come into this and we're so excited, like super pumped, like this is a new opportunity. We have a story to share. We have a transformation to share. We start to see some fruit from this, and then life starts to happen and it gets really busy, or our family falls apart, or we are adding another job, or whatever it might be. Like, life starts to happen, and then we start to get overwhelmed and burnout, and we're tired of working hard and not seeing those immediate results because we feel like we're putting in all the work, but we don't see those immediate results, and then we're discouraged. And more times than not, we just quit. Like, instead of slowing down, it's okay to slow down, y'all. It's okay to slow down and step back as long as you keep showing up in some way. But more times than not, we just quit. And then when we quit, it's over. About to pull this up. So Caleb led our prayer Sunday morning. He doesn't even know I'm saying this. And this wasn't part of our presentation, but it really stuck with me. He was talking about just having hope, and talking about like what it looks like to walk through the fire. Because sometimes that happens. Like, as believers, we always have hope. We always have victory, but we do walk through hard seasons of life that are hard. And I don't even mean hard, sad things. Like, I just mean busy hard. Like, it can be anything. But he made the comment, and I wrote it down, so it was so good. But he said, just don't quit. Because more times than not, when you run into this fire, like, if you continue to run through the fire and you continue to show up, then you actually, I don't want to say this the wrong way because I didn't write it all the way, but he talked about how you take that risk of allowing the Lord to refine you through the fire than to burn you up. Like, that didn't come out very right. He probably said it way better, but basically he was saying, like, we're going to go through this fire, and we can either allow it to burn us up, to make us quit, to make us feel defeated, or we can keep going and never quit to the point where the Lord literally refines us through it. And that's something that I've seen in my own personal journey in coaching. And so it's one of those things that, like, I just want to encourage y'all tonight, not to quit if this is something you feel called to, no matter what the season brings, no matter what challenges come your way. You can step back. You're going to have to change when seasons change. But if you just don't quit, you're going to see fruit and you're going to see results. But if we quit too soon, then it doesn't matter. Like, we don't even have a chance to be consistent. We don't have a chance to see that fruit. So that's just a cycle I see a lot of times in coaching. And so I wanted to share that, but we're going to talk about tonight, like, how do we not get to that place of quitting? Like, how do we get to this place where life is happening and we prevent the overwhelm and the burnout and keep showing up and being steadfast where we are? So here's something to think about, y'all. Being overwhelmed is simply a choice. No one is making you feel overwhelmed. So take a step back and evaluate what's going on. And that's so true. Like, sometimes we just put too much on our plates. And when I say that, I don't want you to think, oh, well, I'm just going to quit coaching because I'm just putting too much on my plate. Maybe for some people that needs to be their story. But also I want to really challenge you to be like, okay, well, what am I doing? What do I do every day in coaching? What's overwhelming? What can I remove? How can I slow down? How can I do something for myself that prevents this overwhelm? And just at the end of the day, know that literally nobody's making you overwhelmed. Like, it's you putting all these things on your plate. And so take a step back and think about it. And so these are some things I really want you to think about if we're going to stop being overwhelmed and keep moving forward. Is, first of all, I'm going to say this over and over again this whole year probably, because this is what's kept me here. But like, why are you here? Courtney Foster and I did a team call around this at retreat. And so why are you here? And then what are the non-negotiables you need to be focusing on? And so we're going to break this down. But if you're feeling overwhelmed, I want you to stop and think, okay, why am I here? And what are the non-negotiable things that I need to be focusing on? Because chances are you're focusing on a lot of things you don't have to focus on. And that's causing you to be overwhelmed and burn out instead of finding joy in serving your people and walking your journey and just finding joy in the small things. So let's talk about this. I'm going to share my answer. So why am I here? This is literally my mission statement. Is my purpose in this is to help busy women find joy in their health and fitness journey and experience the freedom that comes with fully surrendering that to the Lord. So that's why I'm here. I experienced that in my life and it was transformational. And I truly believe the Lord has called me to show up and to share that with other people, and to help other people experience that freedom, not from me. Like, that freedom comes from Christ, but I get to be his vessel to go and to be a light and to be his disciple in this. And so let's take it a step farther. Sometimes that's not enough, y'all. Sometimes it's just not. If you just think about why you're here, then you can be like, oh, well, it's okay if that person doesn't find joy in their health and fitness journey. Like, it's okay if I don't show up and do the small things. You know, they'll figure that out somewhere else. But take it a step further and don't just come up with the reason you're here, but think about where you're going with this. And y'all, I'm going to share some pretty bold goals for our team for my just coaching journey. Like, I want us to be an elite team. I'm not trying to hide that from y'all. It has nothing to do with Shay. It has nothing to do with being recognized as an elite team or getting that, recognition. Although, yeah, that's going to be fun. But I want to be an elite team because I look at every single one of y'all and I see Christ in you, and I see him molding you into the women I know he's created you to be, and starting to lead girls and see lives change. And if we're an elite team, that means we have coaches on here working their hearts out and literally loving and serving people every single day. And that is so much more than I could ever do in and of myself. It's truly a multiplication effect for the kingdom. And so that's my big vision. Like, on days where I get tired, I'm like, do I really need to invite to coaching? Do I really need to respond to this person? It's like, why am I here? And where do I want to go with this? But here's the big thing. So elite, yes. But if we hit elite, this is pretty much what it means for this. It means we're building his kingdom. It means we're seeing multiplication effect when we come together and we work hard for his glory. I truly do. Like, I want to see women be change makers in their family. Y'all, as women, we have such an important role. We just do. Like, a lot of the times when it comes to just health and fitness and that kind of stuff, like, we're the catalyst for that. And I want to see more women in the word. Like, that's my heart when I think about, okay, why am I doing this? Because I literally get to have conversations about Jesus every single day through social media, which is crazy. But y'all, that's one of the things that got me pursuing Christ the way I am. It's not the only thing, but having conversations with other women, like, I've grown in my own walk with the Lord. I learned what it means to truly sit in the word. And like, that's my heart in doing this, is I want to see other women do that. And y'all, be transparent. Like, I have financial goals. It's okay to have those. Sit down, and that might not be the only reason you're here, but you can have something you're moving towards. And so for me, like, I want to be able to pay off debt. I truly want to be able to pay off debt. And like, huge praise. I know a lot of y'all saw my post because I talked to some of y'all, but like, Caleb and I paid off a huge debt last week or 2 weeks ago, literally all from what I made from Beachbody the year before. Like, that's huge. It's not about the money, but like, that opens things up for us to give more, for us to serve more, for us to do other things. And then honestly, y'all, I have this big vision, and I never thought I would say this. Never thought I would say this, but I have this big vision of coming home one day, even if it's being part-time therapy, because I really do love being a physical therapist. Like, I have this huge vision of coming home and doing Beachbody and serving my family well and serving my husband in ministry and more within our church, because I'm able to be home. And so like, that's my line, that's my vision. But this is what keeps me going on those days where I'm just like, when I get no's, when I get mean messages, when I don't feel like I'm where I need to be just yet. Like, I stop and I think about this and I see that vision. And, you know, at the end of the day, like, I don't know what the Lord has planned. It might not be this. And if it's not, that's okay. But it's okay to still stop and think of, okay, where am I going with this? What do I want to achieve? And so I want to encourage y'all. I'm going to give y'all like 2 minutes, well, in just a minute, to think about that. So go ahead and start thinking about your why. And like I said, this is mine. I'm not putting this on anybody else. This was not my why when I first started coaching. I sure didn't have a vision of paying off debt or coming home. Like, literally, that was never a thing. When I first started, I just wanted to pay for Shakeology, if I'm being honest. And so think about that. Like, this is my big why. This isn't yours, but I want you to have something that gets you excited, that gets you wanting to show up and do the mundane task in this business, even when it gets hard. And at the end of the day, I want y'all to remember, like, y'all, this is not about us. It is truly about him. I love the verse in Colossians 3:23 that just talks about, in everything you do it wholeheartedly as you're working for the Lord and not for man. And that is my prayer for this team. I truly believe that we do things differently. And there's a lot of Beachbody coaches and teams out there. And we have the freedom to do it the way we want to. We might not agree with everybody, but let me tell you, that's a gift, because that means we have the freedom to make this about Christ and not about us. And that is really, really cool. And I've personally seen lives transform just through our communities, through our Bible studies. And y'all, that is big. Like, I just want y'all to know, like, that's really big. I know we can make it small, but when you hear people's testimonies, like, it's huge. And so just remember that, like, this isn't about us. It's so much bigger. And when you have that mindset, then it's so much more exciting, and it's so much easier to show up and to put in the work, because like, it's not about you. Like, you're working for the kingdom, and that's really cool. And so for me, like, this is what makes my work meaningful, y'all. This is why I want you to have a why. When you show up, when you sit down and you pull out that business tracker, because we all know that is the bread and butter to moving our business forward. Like, as far as day-to-day work, like, that's it. But if we don't have a reason why we're putting in that work, then it's not going to be fun. If we don't have a reason why we're checking the boxes, then life's always going to get in the way. Like, it's always going to get in the way anyways. And it's sure enough going to get in the way of us checking those boxes or doing our tracker. But y'all, we said this at the retreat, and I had to reuse it, but like, life will never get in the way of something you're called to do. And so think about that. I want you to think about your why. Think about what you're moving towards in this business, because when you start to feel overwhelmed or you start to feel burnt out, like, this is what you're going to come back to. And you're going to remember that there's meaning behind these boxes, and that there's something that you are running towards and moving towards. So I want y'all to think about this. I'm literally going to give y'all like 2 or 3 minutes. Just think about it. You don't have to come up with your why, but write down, like, literally write down, because I'm going to text everybody on this call. I'm probably freaking people out. They're like, this is my first call. What are you? This girl's crazy. But no, really, I am going to ask for all, and y'all can tell me, or you don't have to, but like, what is your why? What is your vision? What's going to keep you showing up when people are saying no, when coaches are quitting, or they're not signing up at all, for that matter, or when you're not, people aren't saying yes and purchasing when you think it's going to happen? Like, what keeps you going back to that tracker and still doing it and still giving your best and working with excellence no matter what? Y'all think about that. And I've really got to go to the bathrooms. I'll be right back. Y'all think about that for a second. Okay. I know that really does take more time than that, but the whole point is to make you actually stop and start thinking about it and start writing something down. Because this truly is so important, y'all. So think about your why. Think about why you're here, what you're doing. And here's what I would encourage you with. When you have a God-given purpose and vision behind what you're doing, you will always find a way to keep going, even in the trenches. And this is something else. Caleb would probably be proud to know that I'm using his stuff from Sunday. But he also made the comment, like in that time, the only way we lose in Christ is to simply quit. Like we can't lose. And it might not be what we think it's supposed to look like, but it's going to be what he wants it to look like. And so I want to encourage you to stop, to slow down, to get quiet with the Lord, honestly. If you don't have a clue what your purpose and vision is, and for some of you who are on here building a business, and this doesn't necessarily have to reflect just on coaching, but whatever it is you're doing, like why are you doing it? Because when you truly have a God-given purpose and vision behind it, then you're going to keep going no matter what. Like you're going to keep going through the trenches. As believers, like we know that no matter what we're doing, especially when we're doing it in his name, like we're going to have some pushback. We're going to have some hard times, but that's when we get to lean into his strength and not ours. And all that is so much more rewarding anyways. Let me just tell you. So think about that. And so here's a few other things that I would really want to encourage y'all with. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like you might be burnt out, is learn to work from a place of surrender. This is not easy. I truly believe this is a discipline in itself to learn, especially if you're anything like me and you like to go all the time. And you're this type A person, likes it done a certain way, and you think you have to mark off every checklist before you can stop and slow down. Like learn to work from this place of surrender. Because if you don't, you're going to get burnt out. If you're always working in your strength and in your power, like you're going to get burnt out. And I'm just being honest and transparent with y'all. So learn to get quiet with the Lord and to literally lean in and work from this place of surrender. Stop the striving and start surrendering. And I'd read this somewhere, and I don't know if it's word for word if I put this together, but rather than going harder, hustling more, and striving, let's choose to abide, rest, trust, and surrender. That doesn't mean we don't work hard and with excellence, but rather it puts the focus on showing up and serving and loving people well and leaving the results up to the Lord. I've heard this so many times, but y'all, our job is to plant the seeds and to water the seeds. Like that's our job. The results aren't up to us. Like that's the Lord is in charge of the results. Now, when I say learn to work from a place of rest, y'all, that does not mean that you say, okay, it's going to happen. I'm just going to sit on my couch and I'm going to hit Success Club and I'm going to see life change. I'm just going to sit on my couch and I'm going to trust. Y'all, we're still called to work, like literally out of our love for Christ, out of our relationship with him, we're called to move forward and to work with excellence. And so you still have to put in work. If you want to see results in this business and you're not consistently putting in work, so you're not going to get, like, you're just not going to see fruit from that. We still have to work and we have to work with excellence, but we get to do it from this place of security and rest as believers. I love, and Brittany can probably talk about this, but I love to hear her share just how towards the end of the year, end of last year, beginning of this year, how she got to this place of just like striving. And she finally was just like, this is the Lord's business, first of all, like this is up to him. And she finally learned to live and to work from that place of rest. And she can share way better than I can, but like, I just want to like encourage all that, like, we've got to slow down first. We've really got to slow down. We've got to sit with the Lord. We've got to figure out why we're here, what he wants us to do. And we have to prioritize our relationship with him. First of all, let me just say this, if that's not first and you're trying to do this business, I'm not putting anybody down. Please don't take it that way, but I want to encourage you to get in his word and allow him to fill your cup and allow him to give you strength, because that's where everything else is going to flow from. And so y'all think about that. Let's abide in him, rest in him, trust in him, and just surrender this business to him. It's such a beautiful thing. I promise you, it really is. So here's some practical ways. If we want to figure out what it looks like to rest, prayer. That's my big thing, y'all. Pray over your business, pray over your community, pray over your coaches, pray over your conversations, over your plans, over your groups, pray over it all. One of the biggest things that's really affected my business, I feel like, is prayer over that. And I literally will pray before I sit down to work. I will pray all the time, especially when life's busy. Lord, multiply my time and my effort. Like sometimes I don't have a full hour. That's okay. Y'all, I will share this till I have shared it so many times. You're like, I've heard this a million times, Shay, but like I went through a season in my life where my only priority in coaching was to my own workout, to share on Instagram, which isn't a lot, like literally just share my journey and to talk to one person about coaching. Like there was a season in my life that was really hard and my family was first. And literally the only thing I did in coaching was talk to one person a day. Aside from my own workout and showing up on, like, I still showed up on Instagram stories, but I wasn't doing the behind the scenes work. And that's not me telling you to be lazy, but that's me telling you that sometimes seasons come and you really have to figure out, okay, what can I do right now? And I gave my best. I gave the time I had, and it wasn't a lot, but the Lord took it and multiplied it because he knew that that was all I had. And so I just want to encourage y'all, like, pray over that, pray over your time, pray over the conversations. When you reach out to people and you invite and you have conversations, y'all, it doesn't have to be icky. And one of the most freeing things I started to do before I even get in my inbox is pray over those conversations. Like, Lord, I don't know who you want me to talk to today, but you do. So I pray for fruitful conversations. I pray that people see you, if nothing else, in our conversation. And that might seem so minute and so small, but y'all, it's really, really big and it's really freeing. And you just might see the Lord do some mighty things through those conversations. Like, I don't mean somebody's going to sign up. I'm not saying pray and you're going to have 10 people sign up. That's not what I'm saying. But you might just have some really fruitful conversations that are focused around the kingdom. And y'all, I'm sorry, but if you can have conversations like that, I'm going to celebrate that all day, every day before I celebrate Success Club. Like that is truly just building his kingdom. So pray over those things, have freedom in it. And I've already said this, but spend time with him. This is not word from Psalm 37, but it talks about just letting your delight in him trump your desire to do something for him. So sometimes we can get so caught up in doing the work, even the good things, y'all, but we have to remember to delight in Christ first, to go and meet him and know him and want to just spend time in his presence, because that's going to overflow through our business. And be intentional with your time. And that's another thing I would say when you're really trying to learn from or work from a place of surrender, is be a good steward to the time you have. And Colossians 4:5 says it this way, like, make the most out of every opportunity. And so I've already said this, we're all in different seasons of life. We're going to have different times. Sometimes we're going to work in pockets. Sometimes we're going to work in power hours. Sometimes we're only going to work 3 days a week, but man, those 3 days a week, we're going to show up and give our best. And that's okay. So just know that. But also, y'all, Patrice said this at our team retreat, and I'm sorry, but I'll put this in here. Here's my thing. We're all going to go through busy seasons, but if anybody ever tells me they don't have time to send 5 messages, but you're watching my stories all day, every day, I'm really sorry, but you have time to send 5 messages. So when Patrice said that, I was like, oh, that's good. Like, that might step on some toes, but it's so true. And so evaluate, how are you using your time? Like, y'all, I don't watch, honestly, I'm going to be honest, I don't even watch y'all stories 90% of the time until I have my tracker out of the way. And I sure don't watch any of the Fit for His Glory sister stories unless I literally just have nothing else to do. I make sure I watch y'all first so I can encourage y'all and talk with y'all. But like, I don't watch other coaches' stories, because before you know it, that's 30 minutes worth of your time that you could have literally been stewarding very well and giving 30 minutes of focused work into your business. And so think about those things. I'm not telling y'all to give up your life. I'm not telling you not to unplug or rest. That's not what I'm saying. But if you really do want to build this business, pay attention to the way you're stewarding your time, because my prayer is that you steward your time in such a way that this business is a blessing to you and to your family. Just like Britt said, like, sometimes she feels like she's pulling away from her family and time with her husband. Like, I don't want that to be the case. I really don't. And I'm not going to lie and say I've never done it. Like, there have been, like, it's a hard battle to fight, especially when you're such a type A person. Like, it just is. But the more that we spend time in prayer, we spend time in his presence, and we really just get really focused on what our time looks like. And we are intentional about setting schedules. We're intentional about communicating that with our friends or our spouse or whatever, and like sticking to those things, then the more productive we're going to be. And it's going to end up being more of a blessing to us than we ever realize. So think about that. Those are just some practical things to just stop striving and start surrendering this to the Lord. So y'all think about that. And here's another thing. I say this all the time, but I'm gonna preach it till I'm done, because being consistent in this business is where it's at. Like, I'm not kidding. So many people come into this and want this quick results. Like, they want all of the things. They want to see financial results immediately. And I'm just gonna be transparent with y'all. A lot of times that's not the way it happens. It can, like, literally it can. There's people that do it. But I truly believe that when you're doing it from a genuine heart and you're really building a relationship and community, like, it takes time. And so have this stick with itness. I have always loved. So I don't remember who told me. I don't know if it's Caroline, but it might have been Michelle when we went to the She Works His Way conference too. We had this conversation, but Michelle Mayer, so that's Caroline's upline. She's in charge of She Works His Way, all the things. Her and her husband both are in the Millionaires Club when it comes to Beachbody. And I think they were going to like deposit a check or something one time at the bank, and one of the tellers, James, had taken it. That's Michelle's husband, had taken it, and one of the tellers was like, "Oh, I tried that Beachbody thing one time. It just didn't work for me. Like, how did y'all get here?" And literally his answer was, "We just didn't quit." Like, literally, they just kept going and they kept being consistent, and they started to see that fruit from that. And so this is actually from the book, The Compound Effect. If you haven't read it, I honestly haven't read the whole thing, but I've heard so many like quotes from it that I need to just read it. But it says your choices, so basically the decisions you make every day, plus your behaviors or your actions, plus your habits, so that's repeated actions, plus compound effect, which is time, equals goals. So first of all, we start with our decisions. What are we going to do? Are we going to show up? Do we want this? Do we want to show up? Okay, well, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to take action? And not just are we going to take action once every 2 weeks? Are we going to take action once every month? But are we repeatedly taking action? Are we doing that consistently over time? Because that's what's going to lead to growth in our business. I can't say this enough. Consistency is huge when it comes to this business. And let me just also remind y'all, consistency looks different during different seasons. Like, consistency just means you're showing up and you're giving your best and working with excellence in the time that you have. Like, I think, sorry, Britt, I keep using you as an example, but you're beside me on my screen. But I think Britt would tell you that her consistency during this season of working full time and in their family business on her off days at the hospital, like, her consistency looks different. She can't do everything the same, but she's still consistent. Like, she's still showing up and giving the time she has, and she's almost at diamond. So we'll let that speak for itself. Also, she has a wonderful heart for the Lord, so we'll go with that. But be consistent, y'all. And here's what I love. I've said Patrice's name a few times, but she had so many good nuggets from our retreat that she made the comment, aim to be steadfast, not just move fast. So don't just want to move fast in this. Don't just try to do all of the things. Just be steadfast. Be obedient with what you've been given, and just trust in the Lord for the results. Be obedient in showing up. Be obedient in that consistency and that discipline. Be obedient in having good gospel-centered conversations behind the scenes and planting those seeds and watering those seeds and trusting the Lord for the results. Like, we literally, y'all, we can all so often feel burnout, but let me just like take this pressure off of every single one of y'all. As believers, like, that's literally not a place we're meant to work from. Like, we're not meant to work from this place of burnout. When we do, then that means we're focusing on ourselves. That means we are relying on our own strength. We're relying on what we can do. But literally, as believers, like, our power isn't from us, it's coming from Christ in us. And so that should just like take a weight off of everybody's shoulder and just remind y'all that, like, this isn't about me once again, but like, we're just called to be obedient and do what the Lord calls us to. And every single person on this call, it might be something completely different. Like, I truly believe we have the same mission. Like, we all have a heart to serve the Lord through this and to be his hands and feet and to make disciples, but it's going to look different. And we're all going to have different assignments. We're all going to have different communities. We're going to have different people that he entrusts us with. So don't compare yourself. Like, let's celebrate other people, but let's be obedient to where the Lord calls us. So that's that. Here's some practical ways. So we talked through practical ways of surrender. Let's talk through some practical ways of being consistent. First of all, figure out what season you're in. figure out what season you're in. I've already said this, we're all in different seasons. The amount of work that you can put in is going to change, but commit to literally giving your all in the season you're in, and respect your season. Y'all, it's going to change. Just like I said, I went from a season a year and a half ago to putting in a good amount of time to a season where all I could do was show up on Instagram and talk to one person, to a season of I have a schedule now. Like I try to work an hour from 5:30 to 6:30 every morning. And then on Monday nights and Thursday nights, like I'm in a season where I can put in that time, but I haven't always been there. And so I just want to remind y'all that like we all go through different seasons. And so don't get frustrated if your season changes. If you have more time, wonderful, celebrate it, steward it well. If you have less time, then give your all. In the time that you do have, make those adjustments and continue to just evaluate where you are. Set some baseline non-negotiables. Stop and think, okay, what am I going to do if I have 30 minutes? Like figure out what are your non-negotiables every single day. What actually matters? What do you have to get done today? Because a lot of times we get overwhelmed because we have this huge list of things we could do. So we're about to talk about this in a second, but make the list out. Write down all the things you need to get done and then circle 3 things that you're like, okay, this is my non-negotiable today. This is what has to get done. And if it doesn't get done, y'all give yourself grace, but at least focus on those things. And if you get those things done and you have more time, awesome. Do it or don't do it. You know, go spend time with your husband. Go spend time with your friends. Like, I'm not saying you have to put all that extra time in the beach body. I'm just saying figure out what are things that you really want to get done every day. And that doesn't have to be fluffy things. If you're spending hours on Instagram stories or trying to make canvas or all of the things, stop, because it just really isn't worth it. Like I literally just had a call with Caroline because she's about to bring on a new coach. And I told her, I was like, full transparency, my first 5 coaches, I probably used every bit of Caroline's stuff, like Caroline's videos, Caroline's stuff was fit for his glory, like didn't change any of it, even though part of me inside was like, oh, this should be my stuff. Like I just didn't. It was fluffy. It was fancy. I didn't have to do that. I just had to show up and love my people well in that season. And so just remember that. And I've already said this, but make adjustments. Y'all, if you're really running this business and you stick into it, like you stick with this for the long run, you're going to make mistakes. So just know that it's okay. That's where you're going to learn. You're going to make people mad. You're going to learn how to word things differently, but don't be afraid to just fail. Like fail forward, do it messy. Take the pressure off yourself and just have fun. Like if you're starting to get stressed out about the way things look, text me, let's talk about it, because literally I just want you to have fun. And here's the thing, when seasons change, don't quit, just slow down. Like literally you have permission to slow down. Don't just throw in the towel and say, I'm done. How often do we preach to people not to do that in their health and fitness journey? Like seriously, how often do we be like, okay, well, it's hard. Well, don't quit, just make adjustments. Like just take it to 2 days a week, just walk, just do something to keep your body moving. It's the same thing in our business. When it gets hard, don't throw in the towel and quit, because then literally, I mean, it's over. You quit. There are no results. You can't run towards that purpose or that vision anymore. So just slow down and make adjustments. And always go back to your why, because if you get to this place that you want to quit, stop and think, okay, well, is it still worth it? Like, is it still worth it to just move slower? In your health and fitness journey, do you want to be healthy? Okay, well, is it worth it to put in 2 days a week because that's all you have as opposed to 5 days a week? It's literally just making adjustments and doing what works for you. So think about that. And here's some of my non-negotiables, y'all. My walk with the Lord is first. If I, like this morning, I slept in because we had small group late last night. I didn't do any coach work, really, maybe 5 minutes worth. But my time with the Lord is first. Like if I don't have time to do anything else that day, that's just important, because that's where everything else flows from. My family is second. And at the end of the day, I do work a full-time job. So like all 3 of those things are kind of top priority over coaching. Like it just is, because my faith and my family are always, and then my full-time job, like that's non-negotiable. I have to do that every day. But I do make sacrifices outside of that, so that way I can pour into my business. And I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. They asked me, like, do you ever take time for yourself? And I'm like, honestly, like, maybe I sound crazy, but y'all, I love coaching. Like, I love y'all. I love this community. So I would much rather spend an hour coaching if my time allows than just watching TV by myself. Or I'm not a TV person though, y'all, and I'm really not a reader. So like if that's your way to unplug, do it. But like for me, like this is what brings me joy. I love coaching. And so it's just fun for me to take that time. But here's my 2 non-negotiables. If y'all want to know what I have to do every day, and it doesn't always happen. Literally last week, I was just telling Caroline this. There were 2 days at work that were super crazy and I didn't touch my tracker. Very rarely does that happen, but sometimes it happens. So take that pressure off yourself. But my business, like my coach tracker is my priority 5 times a week. Like that's my goal. I'm going to do this 5 times a week and I'm going to serve my community well. And so those are like my non-negotiables. Also remember that's me sharing my stuff. This might look different for you. But some different ways you can really like hone in on this. Do a brain dump, write down all of the things you think you need to get done, pick your top 3, and figure out what actually needs to happen. Separate that from the fancy and just take action consistently. Like I said, if you're not getting to know people, if you're not creating relationships behind the scenes, y'all, your social media is pointless. I'm just going to be honest. Like if your social media looks wonderful, but you're not genuinely connecting with people and getting to know people, then it really does not do any good. So make sure you're focusing on those things. And if y'all have questions like, okay, like help me figure out like, what am I doing here? Like, am I doing fluffy stuff? Do I need to reevaluate? Like, that's what I'm here for. We can talk through that because I don't know what all y'all do behind the scenes. Like, just being honest, I don't know. And so if we need to talk through it, we can. But just a friendly reminder to pick those things that you need to get done. And that's going to take the stress and the overwhelm off a lot of the times, because then you can completely forget about all those other things and just do what you have to do. Focus on the fun things. So I would love to know, what are y'all's non-negotiables? And okay, so I know that your faith and your family are non-negotiable, and I know your work is, but I would love for y'all to comment like, okay, what are your non-negotiables right now? Is it the tracker 3 times a week? Is it 5 invites a day? Is it just sharing on social media? Like, what are your non-negotiables? You can just share one, I don't care, but I'd love to hear. But drop it in the chat. Miranda says sharing all her stories. Mark out and having combos. That's a really good one, Caroline. Like honestly, I would tell y'all, like if you didn't have any other time, I would tell you to do exactly what Caroline just said. Your own workout, to your own journey, and just having conversations. Because the conversations are so much more important. I mean, the Instagram stuff is important, don't get me wrong, but if, like I said, if you're not having conversations, then it really doesn't matter. Brett said sharing my journey, workouts and stories, conversations, and keeping up with challenges before stressing out about invites. Yeah, those are all really good. So think about those. If you don't have non-negotiables, think about them and write them down. Share them with your husband, share them with your roommate, like whoever it is that you feel like you need to share it with that. Like literally Caleb and I, we talk about my goals and my schedule. Like he knows, like we're on the same page when it comes to like, when am I going to work this business, when I'm not. And that's just super helpful. So I want to give y'all permission. Stop comparing. Like I'm not kidding y'all, if you're comparing, unfollow. Like I don't mean that, that's not a mean thing. This is literally to protect you and your mindset and to keep the enemy from getting inside of your mind and making you feel discouraged and defeated. But if you need to unfollow me. Like, I don't care. That kind of came out wrong. I'm not trying to say you are comparing yourselves to me. That's not what I meant. But I just mean, if you find yourself like so engulfed in someone else's story, and then you start to feel like you're less than because you're not hitting these goals or you can't show up as much as them, just unfollow. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Because you're on your own journey where the Lord has you. And if you're comparing your journey to someone else, and that's just an open door for the enemy to come in and make you feel defeated. So stop comparing, celebrate those people or unfollow them. It's okay. Set boundaries. Y'all, you have to set boundaries in this business. If you don't, you will get burnt out. I have experienced this to an extent where I did not set boundaries, and I had to learn what it looked like to sit down on a Sunday, write out when my work hours are. That's just one step, though. You have to be disciplined in those boundaries. Like, you have to clock in and clock out of this business. If you don't, it'll start to consume all of the things. And it's not always a bad thing. Like, when I was doing more than I should have been doing, to be honest with you, it's because I truly love this business. Like, I loved it and I wanted it to grow, but I had to come to this place of like, okay, well, if my marriage is not flourishing and growing, but my business is, then who cares? Like, you have to prioritize that time for people that are important, for your families, for your friends, for your small groups at church. Like, that's important. So don't take, like, don't let coaching take over, but also don't let that be an excuse not to be consistent. Make a schedule. And if you need to send it to me or someone else, get you a purpose partner and say, this is my schedule, and check in. Hey, are you actually showing up when you say you're going to? Are you actually clocking out when you say you're going to? Have that accountability. It's okay to say no. You don't have to do all of the things. Y'all, sometimes I'll be honest, like in the Fit for His Glory leaders thread, I can get overwhelmed because most of them are stay-at-home moms and their messages go in all day, every day. Do you want to jump on a call last second? Do you want to do this? Do you want to lead this? And y'all, sometimes I just have to say no, or I can't always pay attention to everything because I'm in a different season of life. And I have to make sure that I'm pouring into my business and you ladies and my family before I do all the extra stuff as a leader sometimes. So just know you can say no. Turn off your notifications. It's okay. Turn off your Instagram notifications if you have to. Set business hours and say, I'm only going to check Facebook Messenger then. I'm only going to check Instagram messages. Like, y'all, I can't tell you how many people I've had to apologize to in the past like few months because I'll respond to their Instagram messages 2 weeks later. That's not good. I mean, I hope we can respond quicker, but sometimes life happens and it's okay. Turn off the notifications. You'll get to it when you get to it. Take social media breaks. It's good. If you need to delete the app, delete the app. But take social media breaks. I had a girl, I jumped on a potential coach call, and I promise I'm about to wrap this up because I'm going longer than I meant to, but I had a potential coach call last Thursday, and one of the things she said was, I feel like you're always on Instagram, like always, and I don't think I want to be on Instagram. And I was just very transparent. I'm like, look, that's something I've had to learn because at first I was on it more than I should have been. I was like, but literally, I only get on Instagram for my business. Like, that's all I do. I don't look at other people's stuff. I don't get on just to scroll. Like, I only get on during my business time. And I also shared, like, if you watch my stories, probably 80% of them are not in real time. Some of them are, depending on the time of the day. But most of them, I literally will record real quick and save them to my phone. And I'll go back and upload like 5 stories 5 hours later sometimes. And so make sure like you're taking those breaks, you're being intentional about that. And you don't have to respond to people immediately. It's going to be okay. If they want to sign up with you, they're going to wait and they're going to be patient. Now, I'm not saying just, oh, I see a message, I'm just going to respond to them 10 days later just for fun. Like, no, but show up during your work time and respond. But if you see a notification come through, that's what I'm saying, turn the notifications off. Because a lot of times we're really like tempted to just jump in there and respond when we're not actually working, when we're sitting there watching a movie with our husband or we're out to eat with our best friends. So turn those things off, set boundaries. I promise y'all your business will still move if you're being consistent and doing the small things, even if you turn all of these things off. So it's okay, I promise. And here's this, y'all, I'm not special. Literally, nothing about me is special. Nobody knew me 2 years ago, but I was quiet. I did not post on social media, all of the things. Like, I didn't have any more qualifications than y'all have. I just learned what it looked like to truly surrender this to the Lord and trust that He's going to do with it what He wants. And He's done way more than I could have ever imagined. Like, I'm not kidding. And I'm so grateful for that, but it wasn't anything Shay did. And so just remember, like, in this business, you cannot control other people. You're going to get no's. You're going to get people that don't understand what you're doing. You're going to get pushback. You're going to have people quit. You're going to have coaches quit. And that's okay. You can't control that, but all you can do is show up and control your daily actions. You can surrender those to the Lord and work with excellence and trust the Lord for results. And so to wrap us up, Y'all, I'm getting emotional. This is a problem. So I'm going to show y'all what the result of consistency has looked like for me personally. And like I said, this is my story. This isn't yours. Don't compare it. But I want to encourage you because the Lord has done immeasurably more than I could ever imagine through coaching and through this community. And so this is pictures of my consistency. Y'all, to see my husband at our retreat leading worship and we were there together is literally a miracle. I'm not kidding. It's a miracle. And that was all, like, the Lord did a work, but like he used this community in big ways. He brought me a mentor in my life who spoke truth into my life. And a lot of people were encouraging me to just give into the world's way of living and what would have been easier during some difficult seasons. But like Caroline did do that. She prayed with me and she spoke truth into my life like nobody else. This community in general is like a godsend. I have 3 really close friends. I mean, y'all are all my friends, but like being able to be at retreat with Britt and Maggie and Courtney, like I wish everybody could have been there, but like it was just awesome. Like it was so cool to be like, oh my gosh, like how did we get here? Like how did we meet? But literally the Lord has just brought some amazing women into my life. And I'll say this about these 3 in general, and I see this in a lot of people, but I just got to spend some really a lot of quality time with them. Like, and I told Britt this, what is so cool is to see the Lord working in their lives. Like to see them be bold and courageous and lead Bible studies. I won't forget the first time I texted Britt and Courtney back. I was like, hey, will y'all lead this Bible study? And they're like, but they did it. And the Lord literally worked through them in big ways. Y'all, I am not the same person I was 2 years ago. Let me just say, in my walk with Christ, in my boldness, in my leadership, in the way that I love my family, literally completely different person. I've already shared this. My marriage is completely different. And the Lord gave us some of the most beautiful mentors, gave us some of the most beautiful prayer warriors, brought new community into our lives when Caleb and I needed it. Like he did it before we knew we were going to need it. That's just a testament of the Lord's faith. Like he had already started to bring things into our lives before a really difficult season. My family, like I look at this picture and like every single person in this picture is doing Beachbody workouts and using Beachbody programs and products. Like I've seen their health transform, which is really, really cool. I'm not saying Beachbody is the only way. Don't take it that way. But literally it's been a tool. And it's been a catalyst in my family. And then I put this picture. This is Shelby. She's one of our challengers, but she's actually somebody I knew personally. And like I've seen the Lord work in her life, like so much more than this physical transformation, even though it's awesome. Like I've been able to see the Lord work in her life and other challengers. And like, it's so worth it to me. And y'all, I'm gonna be honest. Some of these things, like seeing my husband in that picture, seeing this picture of us down here, like I don't know if that's what it would have looked like if I wouldn't have stayed consistent and been steadfast during it all. And I'm not saying, please don't take this the wrong way. I'm not saying that Beachbody was like the end all be all to all of this, but the Lord 100% used this community, this opportunity to transform so many things in my life. And it all comes from showing up consistently and putting in the hard work and trusting him and doing the little things day in and day out. We aren't a 1-star team right now because I did my tracker 2 times out of the month, or because I showed up on Instagram 1 time every 2 weeks. Like I truly believe we're a 1-star team, one, because the Lord is set over this team, first of all, but because I did show up and I did the small things day in and day out, and I had purpose behind it. And so I want to encourage y'all, because when I put this picture together, like it was such an encouragement to me, and I might have shared a tear or two because it just means a lot. And so whatever your why is, don't give up. Keep going, keep trusting the Lord, keep doing those small things. Shift with the seasons when they change, but when you start to feel overwhelmed or burnt out, stop. Figure out why you're here. Figure out where you want to go with this, and then figure out the little things that need to be done today. You don't have to do it all. You can turn off notifications. It's okay, but you can still show up and give your best and work with excellence. So that's all I got. I'm gonna check the chat real quick because I don't know what came through. I don't know when Britt said purpose partner, but purpose partner is huge. If you're really in this and you want to move the business forward, find somebody you can talk to. And I don't mean just business, like they're probably going to become one of your best friends, but find somebody you can ask questions, that you can run groups together with, that you can go to and talk to, because it really is huge. So I'm gonna stop sharing this. That was a lot, I know. And I just hope and pray that like y'all got something from that. Even I know it was very Beachbody centered, but like that's what we do on here. But I hope that you could take little nuggets from that and just apply it to your life or to your ministry or your role, like whatever whatever role the Lord has you in. We're still called to show up and do it with excellence and walk in discipline and be consistent. Like that is truly a gift, to be consistent in what the Lord calls us to. So that's all I got. Do you might have any thoughts or what did you say, Caroline?
That was incredible.
Thank you. Y'all, I really, so I was sitting there, when was it, Sunday? I'm going to stop recording this real quick so I can share it because I do want to pray for